Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Shreya Savijay. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 7th of October. Terrorists killed 2 teachers at school in India's Jammu and Kashmir. At least 20 dead after 5.7 magnitude earthquake strikes Balochistan. A 9-day-long Navratri festival begins with great fervour in India and Nepal. And now for all the details. Suspected terrorists entered a school in Srinagar city in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir territory on Thursday and gunned down its principal and a teacher, the latest in a spate of targeted killings in the valley. The victims were members of the region's minority, Sikh and Hindu communities. Both of them reportedly died on the spot, police said. In the last week, 7 civilians have been killed in the Union Territory, including a respected Kashmiri Hindu pharmacist. Police said recent killings in Srinagar had been carried out by the Resistance Front affiliated to Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba terror outfit. India has long accused Pakistan aids and infiltrates terrorists across the border to spread unrest in Kashmir Valley. Pakistan, however, denies the charges.
बिल्कुल बेगुनाह जो लोग हैं जो समाज की सेवा में लगे हैं, जिनका किसी से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, उनको टारगेट किया जा रहा है। ये दहशत का माहौल पैदा करने के निशाने से इस तरह की कार्रवाई जो है और कम्युनल रंग देने के लिए ऐसी किलिंग्स को, ताकि आपसी भाईचारा जो जहां पर कश्मीर में आपस में लोगों का है उसको नुकसान पहुंचे, उसको ठेस पहुंचे।
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday inaugurated 35 pressure swing adsorption oxygen plants under the PM CARES funds across 35 states and union territories in northern Uttarakhand state. He lauded the country's capability to battle the COVID-19 pandemic and recalled India's journey from being an importer to an exporter of masks and kits.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday inaugurated 35 PSA pressure swing adsorption oxygen plants established under the PM CARES Fund across 35 states and union territories at an event in AIIMS Medical College and Hospital Rishikesh in northern Uttarakhand state. With this, all districts of the country will now have commissioned PSA oxygen plants. Speaking at the event, Prime Minister Modi lauded the country's capability to battle the COVID-19 pandemic and recalled India's journey from being an importer to an exporter of masks and kits.
कोरोना से लड़ाई के लिए इतने कम समय में भारत ने जो सुविधाएं तैयार की, वो हमारे देश के सामर्थ्य को दिखाता है। सिर्फ एक टेस्टिंग लैब से करीब 3000 टेस्टिंग लैब का नेटवर्क बनना।
Till now, a total of 1,224 PSA oxygen plants have been funded under the PM CARES Fund across the country. Prime Minister Modi, who completed 20 years as the head of a government, including 13 years as the Gujarat State Chief Minister, at the event said he had never thought that he will be the Prime Minister one day.
India's Supreme Court on Thursday asked the Uttar Pradesh state government to file a status report by October 8 on arrest and investigations so far in the Lakhimpur Kheri violence case. The case pertains to death of at least 8 people after a car ran over them during protests against 3 new farm laws.
India's Supreme Court on Thursday asked the Uttar Pradesh government to file a status report by October 8 on whether all the accused named in the first information report have been arrested in the Lakhimpur Kheri violence case. The case pertains to the deaths of 8 people, including 4 farmers who were allegedly knocked down by vehicles driven by workers of ruling Bharatiya Janata Party while they were protesting against the government's 3 new farm laws. India's junior Interior Minister Ajay Mishra's son Ashish Mishra is also among the accused.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि ये जो है मर्डर जैसा गंभीर इशू है और इसको देखते हुए उन्होंने राज्य सरकार से कहा कि अब तक आपने क्या कार्रवाई की है कितने लोग शामिल थे, कौन गिरफ्तार हुआ, क्या कार्रवाई की, वो हमको स्टेटस पर कल आप जो है।
The Uttar Pradesh government had earlier informed the Supreme Court that a single-member inquiry commission has been formed to probe the case. Meanwhile, the opposition parties have turned up the heat against the BJP over the case and made it a rallying point ahead of the polls in the state next year.
A powerful earthquake that struck parts of Pakistan's southern Balochistan province early Thursday morning killed at least 20 people and injured hundreds. The death toll was feared to further rise as rescue operations were underway.
Crowds of victims and their relatives gathered at a local hospital in Harnai, a town in Pakistan's southern Balochistan province, after a magnitude 5.7 earthquake struck the area early on Thursday, killing at least 20 people and leaving hundreds injured. Military helicopters had been deployed to transport the critically injured victims to Quetta, the provincial capital, while other victims were being moved by ambulances to the civil hospital. Rescue workers said the dead were mostly women and children.
200 से ज़्यादा कैजुअल्टीज़ को हम लोगों ने मैनेज किया है। साथ साथ हमारे जो 15 डेड बॉडीज़ है वो हमारे साथ रिपोर्ट हुई हैं। वो जो सीवियर इंजर्ड थे कुछ को तो हमने बाय रोड एम्बुलेंस और कुछ प्राइवेट व्हीकल्स में भेज दिए। अभी जो कुछ ज़्यादा ही सीरियस थे जो ट्रांसपोर्ट काबिल थे उसको थ्रू हम हेलीपैड जो है हेलीकॉप्टर हम लोग जो है ट्रांसपोर्ट कर रहे हैं।
Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan offered condolences to families of the victims on Twitter and said he has ordered immediate assistance for the earthquake victims. The quake was relatively shallow at 12 miles with an epicenter 62 miles east of Quetta, the US Geological Survey said.
Moving on, GilgitBaltistan is home to some of the most captivating natural sceneries with picturesque landscapes and cultural diversity. The region has a huge potential of making it a tourist hotspot. However, locals and tourists have lamented government apathy to develop basic road infrastructure and facilities of accommodation, which has kept it out of bounds for most people.
With picturesque landscape and cultural diversity, GilgitBaltistan is an ultimate tourist destination. However, locals and tourists have blamed Islamabad's unwillingness to develop infrastructure in the illegally occupied region that has led to the downfall of the tourism sector. Poor road connectivity, mobile network and lack of transport facilities continue to be a major hindrances for the tourists as well as for the residents of GilgitBaltistan. A few tourists who visited the region recently said they face difficulties due to bad condition of roads and lack of accommodation in the illegally occupied region.
So far, I think that this country is not as much developed as other countries. So for me, it's like very nice to see the pure beauty of the nature. And of course, we need some touristic spots where we can stay and everything.
हाँ, इसको डेवलप होने की ज़रूरत है थोड़ी सी। यहाँ पे जैसे रोड्स यहाँ पे और अच्छी हो सकती हैं ताकि टूरिज्म ज़्यादा हो। अभी लोग यहाँ पे आते हुए थोड़ा सा घबराते हैं क्योंकि रोड्स थोड़ी सी ख़राब हैं, तो इस वजह से रोड्स यहाँ पे बेहतर होनी चाहिए।
Locals have time and again lamented that with the proper policies and planning, the tourism sector can give a major boost to the economy of the region. However, it has remained backward and underdeveloped due to apathy and negligence by the Pakistan government.
Afghanistan's economy is on the brink of collapse and a humanitarian crisis has escalated and magnified at an incredible pace over the past few weeks, Mary Ellen McGrorty, World Food Programme Afghanistan Director, has said. Poverty and hunger have worsened since the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, a country already suffering from drought and the COVID-19 pandemic.
Mary Ellen McGrorty, World Food Programme Afghanistan Director, warned Wednesday that the country's health system is failing and the economy is on the brink of collapse. McGrorty, in a video conference from the Afghan capital Kabul, said donor pledges and commitments must urgently be turned into reality before it is too late. She also warned that the rights of women, girls and minorities are also under threat.
The event of 15th of August resulted in a freezing of the foreign reserves and the suspension of development and on-budget assistance, and the consequences have just been devastating. The economy is on the brink of collapse here in Afghanistan.
Poverty and hunger have worsened since the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, a country already suffering from drought and the COVID-19 pandemic. Kabul residents this week said they worried about fewer customers in the bazaar and hoped for lasting peace in Afghanistan.
شما فکر کنید دینار ما بار کردیم از کلی کراچی 2000 افغانی رو ما سودا نکردیم تا 2000 افغانی بعد 400 500 زیر ما خرج خانه ولی من فعلا صبحی نماز خواندم کیلوی 90 افغانی ما گاز پر کردیم.
500,000 people have been displaced in Afghanistan in recent months, according to UN High Commissioner for Refugees Filippo Grandi, a number which will grow if health services, schools and the economy break down. More than half of those are children, UN data show.
Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has ordered a probe into his niece Nirupama Rajapaksa's overseas wealth after she and her husband Thirukumar Nadasan were alleged in the Pandora Papers to have millions of dollars stashed abroad. Gotabaya has asked the main anti-corruption body to submit a report within a month on people accused of maintaining offshore accounts in the unprecedented leak of financial documents known as the Pandora Papers. Nirupama was a legislator in the previous governments of another uncle, Mahinda Rajapaksa, the current Prime Minister, between 2004 and 2015 and was a junior minister for 5 years. The couple's name were among dozens of prominent personalities worldwide featured in roughly 11.9 million documents leaked from financial services firms that managed their wealth. The massive leak of financial documents published on Sunday allegedly ties world leaders to secret stores of wealth and was published by several major news organizations. Meanwhile, the opposition immediately cried foul, saying the investigation would amount to a cover-up by the Rajapaksa family, which have been powerful in the island nation for decades. Scores of devotees across India thronged temples to offer prayers as the Hindu festival of Navratri on 9 nights, which symbolizes victory of good over evil, began on Thursday. Meanwhile, coinciding with Navratri, Hindus in Nepal celebrated the beginning of one of their major festivals, Dashain, with religious fervour.
Long queues of Hindu devotees were seen outside the famous shrine of Mata Vaishno Devi in India's northern Katra town as celebrations of the Hindu festival of Navratri over 9 nights began on Thursday. The holy town also witnessed a colourful procession amid the COVID-19 pandemic, during which devotees danced to drum beats and prayed to seek blessings of Hindu goddess Durga to mark the festival dedicated to her several incarnations. It is believed that during this period, the goddess Durga descends on earth and rids off demons and bless her devotees.
बहुत सुंदर ऐसे लगता है माता रानी खुद ही सड़कों पे आ गई है और सबको खुद से दर्शन देने के लिए बैठी हुई है। सबकी सुनती है, मेरी तो आज तक हमेशा सुनी है। तो मैं तो सबको बोलूंगी कि आपके विश्वास के ऊपर सारी कहानी है। जितना आप विश्वास रखोगे उतना माता रानी आपको सुनेगी। वो तो आपके विश्वास में बैठी हुई है।
Similar scenes were witnessed in India's northern Kanpur and Aligarh cities, where devotees paid obeisance to idols of the goddess and chanted prayers and performed rituals to mark the auspicious day.
इस साल भी ये भव्य सुंदरता से बड़ी श्रद्धा से इसका आयोजन किया जा रहा है। प्रशासन की गाइडलाइन को देखते हुए इसकी व्यवस्था कर रहे हैं। नवदुर्गा का विशेष महत्व है हमारे जीवन में। इन 9 दिनों में मां की विशेष कृपा होती है।
Meanwhile, markets in neighbouring Nepal wore a festive look as people were seen shopping and buying ritualistic items as they geared up to celebrate 10-day-long festival of Dashain on Thursday, while the Himalayan nation has seen a decline in COVID-19 cases in recent days. Dashain, which coincides with Navratri in India, is also known as Bijaya Dashami and marks the victory of good over evil. It is a time of family reunion when Nepalese people receive blessings from elders, wear new clothes and eat mouth-watering delicacies.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now, viewers can watch the show on southasianewsline.com. You can also visit us on facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all on tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.